Hi guys, it's Rich from Teach Me Music Academy, and today I'm going to be talking to you about different types of guitar. So guitars are a really versatile instrument, and they come in different shapes and sizes and brands and makes. And each one is probably built for a certain specific purpose, but the wonderful thing about guitars is you can use whatever you feel comfortable to play whatever you like. And today we're going to talk about some of the key differences between different types of guitars so you can get to understand them a little bit better. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the type of guitar that's sat on my lap. This, as many of you will know, is an acoustic guitar. It's defined by its hollow body and really thick shape. That's really good for allowing the air inside to reverberate and come out the sound hole just here. You'll most commonly find it with a lot of singer-songwriters. It's great for strumming the chords on, great for a bit of finger picking, and it's really good for beginner guitarists because the advantages with this kind of guitar, you don't have to use an amp when you're playing it. So if ever you sit there and you want to strum some nice acoustic chords, play a bit of Ed Sheeran, chances are you'll probably want to go and look for an acoustic guitar. Okay, next we're going to move on to the electric guitar. So I'm going to show you a couple of different variations of another really commonly type of used guitar. So this is what a standard electric guitar looks like. For this demonstration, I'm going to be showing you the Ibanez RGA42 HPT in this beautiful laser blue colour with gold hardware. So the main differences, as you can see, between an electric and acoustic guitar is the much thinner body shape. This is because it's not really relying so much on the sound to reverberate inside the guitar because it's being picked up by these pickups here. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm going to be covering this in another video, the difference between acoustics and electric guitars, but I want to show you the main key features of an electric guitar. So obviously, as I said, we're using pickups to pick up our sound, and we obviously have basic volume and tone controls. You'll also notice the bridge of this guitar is slightly different. This is what's called a Floyd rose guitar. It allows us to do different kind of notes and bend the notes downwards and upwards. You can also get electric guitars with fixed bridges, which means we don't get that bending down and up motion, but both fixed bridges and floating bridges, like this Floyd rose, come in numerous various sizes and shapes, so it's completely up to you which one you prefer. Electric guitars are more commonly used in the kind of rock and metal genres. Obviously, they're really good for creating that kind of distorted, heavy rock and roll tone that everyone's so familiar with hearing. So if you're kind of leaning towards that more kind of aggressive kind of music, this is the kind of guitar for you. Which brings me on to the next kind of guitars that I want to show you, and my personal favourites, extended range guitars. So this is what an extended range electric guitar looks like. The most noticeable thing about this is you're looking at something that's got an additional string added on. So on this Ibanez SIR207, you're looking at an additional 7th string, which is placed below the normal 6th string. So now we have a lower range on the end of our fretboard. You can get more variations of this, as I'm about to show you, but obviously the advantage of this is it allows you to go to lower tunings with ease without detuning your guitar, as well as giving you a few more options on your fretboard when you're playing solos or riffs further up the fretboard. So now I'm going to show you an 8-string guitar. So this beast here is an 8-string guitar. As you can see, in addition to the already lower 7th string, we've now got a much thicker, bulkier 8-string added there as well, which, as you can hear as well, is a lot lower than our standard 6-string tuning. And I'll just play that 7th string for you so you get the chance to hear that as well. So as I mentioned before, the advantage is with these guitars is they allow you to reach a lower tuning without having to detune your guitar to hit notes that would normally be unreachable. However, in addition to that, you do get additional frets because you've now got 2 extra strings, which gives you a lot more range when you're coming to octaves. Normal guitars are reaching between 3 and 4 octaves. This one you're reaching closer to 5 and 6, giving you so much more versatility. Having these lower notes available to you means this guitar is much more well suited for such genres as metal music, as metal music relies very heavily on detuning guitars to extreme tunings in order to create an overly aggressive sound. 8-string guitars are perfect for that kind of thing, but that's not all they're good for. You'll commonly find extended range instruments like the 7 and the 8 string in jazz music, allowing guitarists to play higher end chords and some really interesting progressions, as well as playing a walking bass line underneath it by utilising the lower strings. They're really versatile instruments and can create some beautiful and unique sounds if used properly, but very interesting to hear. You can also get stuff like 9-string guitars, which throw in another string down below. Unfortunately, we don't have one here today, but keep an ear out if ever you're interested in hearing them. You also might be familiar with 12-string guitars, though you might not recognise them when you've heard them. 12-string guitars are like regular 6-string guitars, and you can get both electric and acoustic variations of them. But instead of having 12 completely different tuned strings, you have 6 strings with an additional 6 strings next to them tuned to higher octaves. It gives you a really bright, crisp, clear sound, which if you've never heard before, I suggest you listen to the song Hotel California by the Eagles. That clean picked intro on the acoustic guitar is played with a 12 string. Listen to the difference between that and a normal acoustic guitar, and you'll definitely hear that bright, crisp tone that I'm talking about. In addition to different types of guitar, we're also going to briefly look at different kind of brands of guitar. Now, there are a load of different markets out there for guitarists, numerous brands pumping out numerous models with specific specs and different kind of sounds in mind when they make them. I'm going to very briefly walk through kind of a few things that you'd be looking for when you're out to buy your own guitar, and what kind of brands you'd be looking for depending on if you're a beginner, professional, or if you're after something a bit more customized. Entry-level guitars like Squire or Crafter are really good for guitarists who are just starting off. They're cheap, easy to make, and pump out a really good sound. However, you won't find a lot of professionals using them, but for a beginner guitarist just starting out and trying out their first electric guitar, for example, they're absolutely brilliant choice. Next, let's look at some of the bigger branded ones. So we're talking now about Gibson, Ibanez, ESP, PRS, big brand names that you would have seen various guitarists that you look up to play on stage and in studios. They obviously got a huge price range. We're talking some of them being around the more affordable market, a few hundred, while some are pushing up towards the couple £1,000 at least. These guitars are defined as the industry standard, which is why so many people play them. There are a huge market out there with numerous models and makes, and as I said before, all aimed at different types of music, different types of genres, which is why they're so versatile and so easy to get a hold of. You'll find them 9 times out of 10 stocked in almost any decent guitar store. Now, if you've got a little bit more money available and you are looking for something a bit more tailored to your individual style, you can look at some of the smaller independent brands which are great at producing custom instruments. So we're talking about brands like Strandberg, Mayonnaise and Aristides. I think I said that right. These are all amazing guitar brands who are pumping out specs that are not commonly seen in the industry standards, and they're also really good at creating specifications specifically requested by their players. They do cost a lot more. You are looking at prices that are going to be pushing over 1 or 2 grand at least. However, if you have that money to pay for it and you're interested in getting a guitar that is specifically tailored to the things that you want, sound, design, playability, and even color scheme, they are an incredible choice to make, and we could not recommend them enough. Obviously, there are many other types of guitars out there. More than happy to go on the internet and have a little gander, see what kind of interesting guitars you can find, and just open your eyes to the world of the guitar and how versatile it is as an instrument. But that's all for this video, and we'll catch you in the next one.